Welcome back to Suladan Plays Bendy and the Dark Revival. Last time, I remember we found Steve, and we fed Steve, and Steve is gone, and that's concerning. And, we also gained the ability to backtrack. The downside, I don't remember where I was trying to go. I remember, oh yeah, that's right, she had me play hide and seek and said that if I did, that she would open the door, and then we started backtracking, and then Steve, and other stuff, so I think we just need to go forward here. You don't see nothing. Tentacle McGrumpums back there, don't see nothing. Yeah, Cyclebreakers. Yeah, this door. The door I couldn't go through before. Unless I've been through it and I just don't remember. It's been a little while. Things happened. Domekeeper exists.
Really?
I am not contaminated. Can you not decontaminate me? Oh, well that works. You know what? We're just gonna roll with that and not ask too many questions. Is this a morgue? Yeah, those make me think this is, well, it's at least being used as a morgue. Whether it was originally a morgue is another question. There are better ways to fix potholes. Man, don't let the Department of Transportation see you can fill a pothole with a barrel. We will have so many problems. Then they'll hire Donkey Kong and everything goes downhill from there because he'll stop doing his job and just start chucking barrels at people. What's this letter do? Oh, hi.
Excuse me.
Yo, bud. What
Sir?
you doing? Who you is?
Can you help me?
Are you Joey Drew again?
You must be really lost to be asking me for help.
Henry?
I'm just looking for answers.
Is that Henry?
About the Keepers, Wilson, the Cycle. Anything could help.
What's your name?
Audrey. What's yours?
Honestly, I've almost forgotten.
Is that you, Henry? I don't think we've ever seen
My
him.
name is Henry.
Hey, it's Henry!
Been in prison long?
And the Keepers think you're a threat to their plans. They lock you away. Forever. Still, it's given me time to think. Things like, if you haven't eaten in years, you might not be human.
Why would you be a threat to them?
I'm what they call a cycle breaker. Once upon a time, I knew how to start the cycle over. And when that happens, everything begins again. Completely new. Obviously, Wilson and the Keepers don't want that to happen.
How did you do it?
Reset the cycle?
Killing
Turns
Bendy.
out the Ink Demon himself is the key. This world is his, but even he must obey its rules. For now, at least. If you can get him to look at something very specific, it will reset everything.
What is it?
The end.
It's just a reel of film, labeled with the words, "The End." I can see it in my mind every day. They keep it upstairs in the pit.
I'll see if I can break in and steal it. Maybe, if I reset the cycle, we could make things better for everyone here.
And what about you?
I just want to go home.
So did I. Good luck, Audrey. If you need me again, you know where to find me.
Could they at least have given you a comfier chair? Okay, what was the... why noise? Noise why? I was gonna say that would be the perfect point for me to have turned and been a jump scare or something, but... So the entire first game is him stuck in a... Well, one, the term cycle breaker is kind of weird, because breaking the cycle would imply escaping the cycle, not causing the cycle to loop upon itself, because that is the nature of the cycle. For an Ouroboros to eat its own tail is the nature of the Ouroboros. It is cyclical. For it to break the cycle, it must stop. Therefore, Wilson is a cycle breaker because he has broken the cycle by disallowing the cycle to cycle. You're calling people by a name that is just opposite of what is happening. Also, that implies that the entire first game, and the reason that the game just keeps time looping, is because it's Henry resetting and resetting and resetting and not knowing what's going on. Still leaves the question of what the glowing golden ink was, and what was up with the two lenses of glass and whatnot. We at least now understand why there were two angels, being that the crazy angel was part of the cycle, and the one that had the, you know, the friendly angel with the glowing halo that you could only see through the lens is therefore the one that Joey put into it when he began to feel pity for what he was putting Henry through and all that from the previous cutscene thing. But yes, there are still questions. These questions require answers, and why am I convinced something is about to jump out? It's not, and there's a vat of ink. Wait. Wait. How many? Okay, I need to watch and see if there's any more levers, because I see one over here I could pull. And we're going to pull it 418. Who is 418? It just opens and it's a mirror. Oh, is that you? Yep. Yo. Because there's his mask. I forgot his name, but... So basically, you're saying anybody involved in the first game just gets locked up in here. Also, I think I figured out the difference. The ones without venti holes are the ones you can search. I'm figuring out a lot today. Hi, Bendy. No, why would I even... Like, why? I'm not spending mons. Oh, there's no lever here. Yo. You concern me. Good, you're not making a peep. I was right, that's alive. Yeah, I remember the carnival boss. Quote-unquote boss. Quote-unquote carnival. Carnival ride. Well, you're not saying nothing. What was the point in... Oh, wait. Always remember to look up and look down because I can teleport. I guess he's just there as a little secret thing'em, and I can get up here. Why use ladders when you can warp? What's this? Security lock. I don't know what I'm unlocking, but let's do it. Well, something opened. I should probably have explored before pulling the lever. Or maybe I just set them free. Hey! Hey! There's the thing! The lenses, and it's got all smeared on it. Probably to make the player actually see it, because it would blend in a little too well otherwise. The axe. A Bendy record that I have no idea what's up with that. I want the lens thing, but let me walk while I'm using it this time, because having to stand still while using it was really annoying. I would rather, you know, be able to hold it and walk around and explore the game, even if I had to move slower while doing it. And I almost missed this lever. What's this lever do? Who's back here? Are you worthy to walk with angels? Let me guess, Crazy Angel is, well, of course she's still alive because of the cycle. Huh. I still don't know what this lever did. Did not need her to be back alive again. Battery. Did I accidentally set Crazy Angel loose? It wouldn't make sense for that one lever to let that one person loose, though. Oh, I'm very suspicious of everything that's going on here. Oh, it's just machines. Strange machines. Jump on them. They're harmless. Oop. Thing I can search. There's always hope. Yeah, I'm starting to see some familiar stuff. The bit. Top level badge required. I shouldn't have pushed this. Now they're going on here. Well, I mean, I figured that. Oh no, what are you letting in here? Do I want to know? Probably not. Oh great, I set one of you loose. Why do you have a gear in your back that the other ones didn't? Well, it's fancy that you get an entire death cutscene. Wait, I just remembered you can move during some of these. Maybe I was supposed to circle around so he didn't see me. Oh no, he's... No. No, what have I done?
Savior comes at last.
Wilson?
Fight it, Wilson.
Rest yourself, Audrey. You're still weak. The Keepers can be relentless to strangers. But there's nothing to fear as long as I'm with you. You're safe now.
You crazy old
You
coot.
did this to me.
All you need is a banjo.
You brought me here.
Then I can whop you with
Turned
it.
me into this thing. This doesn't make sense. I've never done anything to you.
Open your eyes and look around you. None of this makes sense. Drawn walls, nightmarish creatures, an ancient studio that died out almost 30 years
By the looks of it, you're 30 years overdue too, bud.
It's all fiction. Utter nonsense. And yet, in here, it exists.
In the briefcase?
It breathes.
Open the briefcase,
It
man. Let it breathe.
flourishes. Reality, guided by its master's pen. The foundation for a new reality. We can bleed into our own.
Soup? Really?
Just think of it. Anything we create in here, we can release out there. But first,
What are you... Ooh.
this world must be controlled, made safe. These things, these angels and demons, are they really life? Or are they just stains? Old mistakes ready to be cleansed away for newer, greater things.
What do you want from me?
Your soul, Audrey.
Need your help
No, you don't.
to save my father's life.
What?
This is our start. We'll talk more once we're safely inside.
As old as you is, I'm afraid to see the mummified whatever that your father is. Dark Revival. Huh. I wonder if I was not supposed to push that button and I've set things in motion that I shouldn't have, and I still don't trust you. And you and your one eye. Glowy eye at that.
Stay close. This place isn't as safe as it
Oh, get
once
back here. I'm gonna smack you now. Ah. Well, that is just rude. Where's the signal tower that I must destroy? Ooh, well, I'm gonna smack you first. Make me. Make me. Make me. Make me. Why are you made of metal? Huh. Grafted. I never noticed the extra grafted limb. Still don't get... Alright. See you later. Am I supposed to be out here? Probably not. See ya. Aw. You gonna put an invisible wall like that? Well, now I'm trapped. And I can't open that from over here. I can't use that. Well, that's not a teleporter one anyway. I love that he's just completely ignoring me wandering around and being a goof. Bang! Bang! Or else what? They do all have gears on their back. which is a weird design. I mean, stylistically it looks cool, but why did you shove a gear in your back? Oh, I know. But I'm gonna smack you anyway. Got anything else to say? Huh? 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 Give me a camera and I will. Give me a camera. Give me a camera. Zipper. Y'all out of stuff to say, huh? Fine, I'll leave then. Being boring. Well, the first thing I'm going to do naturally is go through here. And find a note with a gear on it. I thought it was a schematic. Ever since that terrible crash a few years back, people don't like to hang around. Too many strange things happening on this platform. Last week, one of the railmen told me they had reports of some train going through that wasn't even on schedule. There were figures standing in the cars, staring through the windows, but it never stopped to let no one off. Just kept on going, straight through. Some say it was the Silver Lane Express, the train that crashed. Kitty Thompson. Alright. I'm disappointed by that looking like a schematic and then not being a schematic. Where's over here? Huh. Mayhaps I shouldn't just be wandering around on the train tracks, but mayhaps I'm made of ink. I just realized I can't teleport those, so blinking out of the way isn't gonna happen. I love that I have upgraded stamina. Well, that doesn't work. Why is there no loot in any of these containers? Disappointing containers. Wilson's just like, why does she keep going through all these trash containers? Yo, bud. Yo. 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 Just gonna ignore me. How rude. Oh, this just leads over here. This is pointless to me. Well, this just leads over here. This is pointless to me. This is pointless to me, too. Oh, I don't trust you. Whack!
The demon's evil continues to spread. This world has begun to shudder.
Be quiet.
I know he's lying.
Nothing.
I told you to be
nothing.
quiet, Grumpus. Grandpa. The grumpy
Almost
grandpa.
there. Just a quick stop. Won't take but a moment.
You know, if not for the number of times the Ink Demon has, actively threatened my life, maybe I would start to wonder and go, maybe the Ink Demon is the good guy, but I think they're both evil at this point. I mean, he's right. Wilson is lying. Wilson is just sending me to my death. Oh, those towers. Yeah, that's...
The subject will stand in the designated location.
Yeah, and if I do that, you're gonna zap me, and that's what... last person I saw that went through one of those got compressed and turned into a tiny Bendy. He was a big Bendy to start with, so, I mean, I don't imagine everybody turns into a tiny Bendy, but... Am I short or am I crouching? Why are you so tall? I'm just going to ignore the designated location. Get even closer to the towers, which is probably not good for my safety and well-being. Oh, look, the Tommy gun, an axe, a frying pan. Is this just where you make people drop their weapons? Fine. Well, I stood on it and walked away. Trust me.
Lethal object detected.
Yay, a pipe.
The subject will submit
It's a pipe.
all weapons for
It's a pipe.
further screening.
It is not a weapon. I will get a dictionary and prove it, and then smack you with the dictionary. I'll smack you with a dictionary. Everything's a weapon if you throw it hard enough. I've seen a tornado embed pine needles in a tree. So anything's a weapon if you throw it hard enough. I don't trust you.
The subject is cleared for entry.
I want my weapon back. Like, why did you even give it back to me just to have me come up here? Like, narratively, that is silly because there's not been a place for me to use the weapon from the train to here, so... I do like them taking it from me here, but I would have just... I don't know. Me not having it made it make more sense that I sat and listened to Wilson, but... I say. Can I just smack things with Wilson, grab him by the legs, swing him around?
To the civilized world. How do you like my signal towers?
I don't.
They nullify the Ink Demon's powers, so he cannot pass them. I wish I could say I invented them, but it seems our friends at the Gent Corporation had a demon problem of their own long ago.
Painting. Who are you? You concern me. Also a painting of Wilson fighting the Ink Demon. You egotistical nonsense. You, ma'am, I did not notice your face and you concern me. Or is that a mask? That's a mask, okay. What?
And now, my dear,
what?
If you'll excuse me, I have a lot to prepare. We'll talk later, I promise.
She intends to sacrifice me.
You must be very tired. A quick rest will do you good. Betty will show you to your room. She's my housekeeper.
I don't trust Betty.
things.
Nothing personal, Betty, but I don't trust you.
Never actually killed the Ink Demon, did you?
No, duh.
No.
Because,
he's too powerful,
you know, that
to
resets the
destroy.
cycle.
So we sealed him
well,
away.
Not really killing him so much
him
as
in a
killing
different
him.
form. One that was smaller, harmless.
Bendy.
It was a fitting prison, although he seems to have found a way to free himself. But enough talk. We'll deal with that soon enough.
Yeah,
There's
we'll
some
deal
nice
with...
fresh blankets all laid out for you. You'll be dreaming in no time.
Wait, Wilson? One more thing. If you needed my help, why didn't you just ask?
Would you have believed me?
I don't believe you.
Come along, and no more dawdling.
Nope.
This way now.
I'm going this way. You can't stop me. That would actually be hilarious if you just turned into a shrieking monster and just flew straight at me and was like, okay, we'll follow you. I really expected the game to do something there, but it didn't. I don't know if I'm disappointed.
You're here at last. It's so exciting, finally having you with us.
I don't know who you are, but I'm going this way.
Now, to give you some bearings, we're
Aw.
currently standing in the south wing. Wilson's laboratory is downstairs, and then there's the north wing. The Ink Demon got in there a while ago, and ever since, we've had to keep the north wing locked up.
So I need to go to the north wing. Okay.
It's fallen into ruins.
To
by
the
now.
north wing!
Those juicy, lovely books gone to waste.
Wow, that's the best security system ever.
And they'll tear you apart limb from limb if Wilson isn't with you. So, mind your distance and you'll be just fine.
You say something about the keepers? I wasn't paying attention. Like, letting me roam around was not your brightest move. I've tested...
Not very often I have guests to look after, especially one I can actually...
The one door I can't interact with.
Everyone here either can't speak or they're completely mad.
Yeah, have you met Wilson? He can speak and is completely mad. I mean, he can... Did I say can't or can? He can speak. You know what I mean. Whatever.
Here we are. Best
He's
room
completely
in the
mad.
house. You should see where I sleep.
Can I have my wrench back?
This room. Oh, just perfect. I saw to every detail. It's
Sleeping potion?
clean. The bathroom is on the left. Sorry about the stains.
Salt, chocolate, chamomile, soybeans, and Gilson. What is Gilson? And what does Wilson have to do with this Gilson? Book. Oh my dear goodness, why? And there's a next page button, why? Alright. Chapter 1, The Dangerous Forest. Once upon a time in a faraway land there lived a mug of cheese. But it was not an ordinary mug of cheese, as you would find in any home or kitchen of the age, or chicken of the age. No, this mug of cheese was a distant descendant of one of the 3 grand flagon kings, the same kings who had charged on horseback to defend their capital city during the unforgettable conquest of the previous century. Man, there's a page in a history book I missed somewhere. As for which of these flagon kings he hailed from, the mug was unsure. But still there was honor and courage in his heart. His family line heralded of deeds long past that had forever changed the course of Stoop history. I'm going to say soup. Is stoop a word? I'm not familiar with this. My curiosity will not let this go unanswered. Stoop. A flagon or beaker for drink, or the holy water basin near the door of a Roman Catholic church. Huh. Well, neither of those interest me. So anyway, did he have a name? Of course, all mugs of cheese have names. This is common knowledge, just as every fruit bat is really named Stanley. Well, that makes the Stanley parable very different than I imagined. This mug of cheese was named Richter the Cracked. What a name, I can hear you say. Cracked indeed. The mug of cheese bears no damage that I can see. Fall silent, you small-minded fish, for therein lies the intriguing story. Let's begin at the beginning. It was a hot winter... You keep phrasing things in ways that you know were going to make me hesitate. It was a hot winter day in the forest, but one of those days where everything is a dull brown. The lake was still, the birds had shut up, and the trees were but sticks in the overcast sky, except for a lone pine that skimmed the clouds above like a painter's brush. It was on this day that Miss Darblemouse was in a hurry. Oh my goodness, why is the story making my head hurt? He had just been named as Vermin of the Year by the society brethren that lived under the old church, and it was customary for the honoree to bring fine port wine cheese to the ceremony. There were only hours left to locate some of the precious cuisine. Fortunately, Mr. Darblemouse knew exactly where to find it, the dark cellar below the governor's castle. But unfortunately, as he approached the loose plank of wood in the old wall, he failed to realize that the heavy rains that had come during the night had passed moisture onto the plank, making it heavier than usual. Thus, when he pushed the plank with all his might, it lifted just enough to push his body only halfway through. But his strength couldn't contend with the weight of the plank, and his arms failed, and the plank snapped down, crushing him flat. Do I want to know how many pages there are? Probably not. After all, this story is not about... This literally sounds like something the narrator from the Stanley parable would read. I know there's an AI program out there that does that voice, and now I want to just hear the narrator read all this, because the writing just sounds like something that Stanley Parable would use. After all, this story is not about Mr. Darblemouse. Or had you forgotten the mug of cheese already? No, honestly, I figured that he was going to be the cheese that the mouse was after, but whatever. I can see how you might connect the two. Mr. Darblemouse was, after all, looking for cheese, and we were talking about a mug of cheese just before. Sadly, I must inform you that there is no relation between Richter the Cracked and the rodent who is now nothing more than, flat. We'll just say flat. Except that there is, for it was the death of Mr. Darblemouse that started the troubles. You see, when things die, they tend to smell, and that's just what Mr. Darblemouse did. But that's not all. His body, pinned there between the inside and outside of the wooden wall, had made a perfect passage for the hot winter wind. This wind therefore carried the stench of the decaying mouse into the governor's home. Like a snaking, twisting wisp of terror, the smell settled into a little tavern near the courtyard of the castle. Here soldiers would spend many long hours when there was no bloodlust to soothe with battle. Strong ale and red meats filled the menu from back to front of this rustic, medieval, greasy spoon. Mostly the customers came to look upon the barmaiden, Maxine, who was actually named Rita. Rita was by far the best-looking creature in all the governor's country. There was a beautiful deer woman just over the hill, but nobody knew that. By day, Rita scrubbed the tavern so clean you could eat off of it, which was fortunate, as it was a place you would indeed be eating, since it was a tavern. By night, she served the customers with charm, grace, and mostly drinks. Did I mention Rita was married? Well, I'm mentioning it now. Rita was married. Her husband's name was James. He didn't do much, until he died. The smell of Mr. Darblemouse knocked him flat, and that, my friends, was that. Oh dear, the story has barely begun, and already we've killed 2 major characters. Needless to say, Rita was deeply distressed by the whole thing, but 20 or so minutes later she realized she couldn't mourn forever and went to buy some cheese. Ah, yes, don't worry, dear reader, This time the mention of cheese will probably guide us to meeting our local hero of the tale. Also, this is a good time to start a new chapter. What madness is this? Chapter 2, a new chapter. Rita entered the cheese shop with her guns blazing. I am speaking metaphorically, of course, by which I mean she entered the cheese shop quite determined to buy some cheese. This was because just the night before, as her husband James was taking note of a weird smell in the room, she had invited a delicious new invented a delicious new concoction, a cheddar cider. It was sure to be a hit with her patrons. After all, the governor's county had only 2 exports, cheese and grapes, so she couldn't possibly make a drink from a grape. But back to the cheese shop thing. But grape juice. Anyway, Rita knocked on the counter loudly with her fist, causing the nearby cat to do absolutely nothing, as cats do. From behind the wall, she heard a stir as someone was crashing through piles of cheese to make their way towards her. Ah, yes, just as all cheesemongers do. They just keep piles of cheese, like, lining the floors, knocking them over. I mean, they do keep them on big warehouse shelves if it's, like, big enough. But that's neither here nor there. Emerging gloriously from torn yellow curtains, an old man came into view. He was a giant in stature with a long gray beard, bobbing along, and stuck within his beard were all manner of cheese crumbs and wedges, wrapped tightly within his hair. But yet he held even more cheeses on ropes pulled across his chest with loops of provolone linked like sausages over one shoulder. His eyes were big and his ears were bigger still. A smile of kindness erupted from his face as he locked eyes with Rita. "Oh, my, the Kurds are kind to me this hour. Hello and welcome," he bellowed. Rita bowed low and promptly began to cry. The shop owner looked at her, perplexed. "What did I say wrong?" The barmaiden sniffed and snooted and... Snooted? Snooted. And finally answered, "Oh, forgive me, my husband has just died and I'm out of Swiss." You're saying it'd be fine if he died and you still had cheese. Got to keep them priorities straight. I'm going to pause now in the story to ask myself why Mr. Darblemouse went to the cellar in the governor's house for cheese if there was a cheese shop nearby. I think it's best if we overlook this glaring problem with the plot, don't you? Now back to the story at hand. Rita purchased a large amount of cheese from the shop owner. She bought cheese wheels and cheese melts and cheese slices. She bought cheese whistles and cheese bread. She bought cheese paper and cheese sandwiches. She bought you forgot cheesecloth. She bought so much cheese, in fact, that she had lost track of all that she had obtained and just dumped all the fromage into a large burlap sack for the return home journey to the tavern. You had missed so many opportunities to use cheesecloth in there. "Oh, goodbye, Rita," the shop owner called as he waved farewell. "Goodbye, Daniel," she called back. His name was Murray, by the way. Overburdened by her treasures, Rita made her way home, following the main road to the castle. But, as it always happens, the road was now under repair. A man with a skinny mule was plowing the dirt so that he could put down new cobblestone. 4 of his associates were standing by, watching him. Oof, that's a little too realistic. Man, invent a shovel that'll stand up on its own, and road work would go so much faster. I know they're actually doing their jobs. I'm just making a joke about how often it seems like they're standing, propping up shovels. They're doing their jobs. I'm making no accusations, but you know the pop culture joke here. Anyway, the job would only take a few years to finish, but Rita was in a hurry, so she followed the detour sign that told her to take a different road to her left. Unfortunately, no one could read in the governor's county, so she went right instead. This mishap took her deep into the forest, where absolutely nothing of interest happened. Except something of interest did happen. As she trod through the forest, her sack of cheese weighed her down, muttering complaints all the way. Was she complaining, or was the cheese complaining? Because if the cheese is whining, then we have all sorts of problems. Little did she know the danger that lay just ahead. This danger was cunning and dangerous, and had one of the most... and had one of those out of the... I can't... Why am I having trouble reading this? This danger was cunning and dangerous and had one of those out-of-place eyebrow hairs that drives you nuts when you're talking to someone who has one. This danger we will call Bernard, the big ugly lizard man who wears a blue cloak. Bernard didn't often have visitors in his house. This was because he lived outside. He was also rather fond of human flesh, which made him quite unpopular. So obviously you can see the drama unfolding here. I don't know. I don't remember... Are we assuming Rita's human? I mean, we've had a deer and a cheese mug and a mouse, so I don't know. Anyway, this beautiful but tired Rita huffing and puffing up the winding path as she approached a certain doom. Bernard, watching from behind a nearby tree, licked his lips. Oh, the tension is tense, is it not? At this point in time, we must pause again to ponder all the possibilities that can happen now in our story. 2 characters have died already, and surely a 3rd wouldn't hurt. Are you perhaps just reading the story because you want to see who will get the axe next? You are a little warped, you know that? Well then, let's see what happens next. Honestly, I don't know anymore. This is a Shaggy Dog story, isn't it? It starts with the cheese mug, and we're never going to return to that. Shaggy Dog being a name of a trope of a long and complex story with a lot of characters that leads to nothing. West of Loathing has a Shaggy Dog cave, which involves this trope. That's the only other example of it I know off the top of my head, but there is a TV tropes page if you would like it. Where were we? Bernard stepped from behind his hiding place, his eyebrow hair gleaming in the fading sun. "Oh, dear madam, why must you pass through so fast?" he called with his eyes glimmering. "Oh, I need to get home, Bernard, because, for one, it's getting late and I have customers to serve, and second, because you eat people," Rita replied. "Oh, Balderdash, I won't hear these lies against my character," he detested. "For I, Bernard, the big ugly lizard man who wears a blue coat, have completely reformed myself." She squinted suspiciously at him. "You have?" Bernard put a hand to his heart. "I have. I no longer prowl or pounce. I won't attack or bounce. I will not kill or maim or tear. I won't crush or bite you anywhere. I promise I won't devour anyone." "Oh my goodness, you've become boring. If you're not going to be any danger in the story, then I've come all this way with 100 pounds of cheese for nothing," Rita grumbled. She hefted the sack further up her shoulders and turned with an angry grunt, but Bernard waved after her in panic. "Wait, it's all a ruse. I intended to eat you, dear woman, I swear it," he cried. "Oh, it's all a It's all a trick, you see. A new angle. It worked on some guy yesterday. Oh, please stay." Rita sighed, her strength about gone from the long adventure she had taken since she left home that morning. "Why did you buy 100 pounds of cheese and not have a cart or something to carry it in?" She turned back to face Bernard. "Aye," she said, "but your part in the story better lead to an unexpected turn of events." "Oh, it will." Bernard clapped and waggled his clawed finger to motion her to draw near. "Just wait until the next chapter." Okay, there's... My goodness, this... I'm engaged and enjoying this, but it's so bewildering. I still feel like the narrator from Stanley Parable could read this and it would fit just perfectly. Nobody would question it. Chapter 3. The next chapter. Isn't that what Chapter 2 was named? No, a new chapter, the next chapter. All right. Unstable font sizes. All looked quite dire for Rita. Bernard had her within his grasp. Surely it would be mere moments before his jaws collapsed upon her head. Oh, what a horrible end for Rita. Needless to say, I am worried for her. But as luck would have it, miles and miles away, 20 years earlier, something amazing happened. 2 mugs of cheese, a Gouda and a mozzarella, welcomed their first son into the world. I don't think I need to tell you his name. It was Dave. No one liked Dave. After that, their second son came forth, Richter the Cracked. Just called Richter at that time. Richter spent his early life stealing cowbells and putting them on skunks. This way, people always knew when danger was nearby. Needless to say, Richter was one smart mug of cheese, but he was not popular in the cow community, for they prized their cowbells. They polished them daily. But all could not remain perfect forever, and suddenly a great skunk famine began. Richter found his world in array, and he sought a new purpose. Skunk famine. "Sire, there's a dire dearth of skunks in the land. Import skunks from the neighboring kingdom so that we may have peace once more." Fortunately, there was an opening in the governor's county for an adventurer at the time, and since he was a descendant of the 3 Grand Flagon Kings, he was boosted to the head of the line. Because, as we're all quite aware, even in olden times, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Thus the adventures of Richter began. He braved deep dungeons. He slayed great beasts. He climbed the highest mountain peaks. He sailed around the world despite the fact he didn't own a boat. Richter was truly the stuff of legend. Did I mention the curse, though? Yes, fair readers, there is a curse. A fiendish and terrible curse. It turned him into a cheese mug, didn't it? One morning, while Richter was in the governor's county, he came upon a witch, named Witch. The witch had just pulled a pound cake from her oven, where she then proceeded to start ingesting it right there on the front walk of her home. At once, Richter knew this creature was pure evil. Eating cake this early in the morning, and without ice cream? This was truly a fiend that needed vanquishing. Richter jumped the fence and pulled his sword. "Would you like some pound cake?" the witch offered. It did look delicious. Richter would not let himself be seduced into early morning cake, so he approached closer with weapon at her throat. The witch began to sweat with a mouthful of crumbs. "I also make a mean scone if you want to wait." Now, no gentleman or gentle mug could refuse a good scone, so Richter withdrew his sword and patiently waited for the witch to create these new buttery pastries. What he didn't know was that the witch accidentally had bumped her table, and had added within the mixture was a vial of cursed liquid. "See, I told you there was curse. You were warned." The moment Richter ate of the scones, he fell into a deep sleep. The witch, baffled, finished the cake and proceeded to get a civil service job in a nearby town. As the years rolled by, all that remained of the witch's house was carried off by elves, and her garden became overgrown. This left only Richter asleep in the forest, with no end to his dreaming in sight. However, our story does not end here, for as luck would have it, a giant man covered in cheese with big eyes and big ears wandered past the sleeping mug. In case you've forgotten, this was the cheese shop owner Murray, sometimes called Bill. Unable to resist cheese of any kind, even the mug of the stuff, Murray took Richter to his shop and set him on a shelf. Here, Richter sat for many years until this very fateful day. You see, in Rita's haste to gather up all the cheese she had purchased, she had swept a few things that did not belong to her into the sack as well. These items included the cat on the counter, a personalized pen, Murray's cash box. I think she'll be hearing about that one eventually. And last but not least, Richter himself, still deeply asleep. A cat and a sack full of cheese with a cash register and a mug, which is also full of cheese. So now that our two stories have come together, let's discover what happened next to Rita and Richter in the climax chapter. Oh my goodness. Remember we're playing Bendy in the Dark Revival, by the way. I don't know how we've ended up here. It was that same hot winter day in the forest, and Miss Darblemouse was finally starting to get concerned. Just down the road, Rita was being drawn towards an almost certainly bloody and horrific end to her life. Bernard was just moments from taking her within his lizard jaws, and mere hours from trimming his eyebrows. He leaves that one hair, though, intentionally, trims all the other hairs. Who trims their eyebrows? They grow to a certain size, and they just stay there. Why would you trim them? Unless you're one of those people that shaves their eyebrows off and draws new ones on, in which case, why you do strange things? I mean, unless you have, like, a distinct issue with your eyebrow that you're rectifying, like there's, like, bald patches in it, or it's spotty and you're otherwise trying to cover for that. I don't know, it just seemed weird. Anyway, where was I? Rita stood her ground. She was no damsel in distress, but simply a person who... Couldn't she swing the 100-pound sack of cheese and down pretty much anybody? A burlap sack full of anything hurts. Burlap sack full of 100 pounds of anything hurts. Burlap sack full of 100 pounds of cheese and a cat and a cash register really hurts. Also, are we including the cat and the cash bag in that 100 pounds, or is it 100 pounds of cheese plus a cat plus a cash box? Which, if we're talking gold coins, is going to add a fair bit of weight. Anyway, she pulled the burlap sack of cheese from her butt. I was right. And swung it hard with every last bit of strength she had left in her. An ear-shattering crack broke through the silent trees as the bag made contact with Bernard's shocked face. His teeth flew in all directions, falling like pebbles to the ground. His eyeballs dislodged and rolled into a nearby stream. His jawbone turned completely around and planted itself on the back of his head. So we got a Daffy Duck situation going on here. Bernard ran screaming into the woods, never to be seen again this week. His cries faded, and the forest once again fell soft and quiet. A cow walked by. Rita, still standing with the sack outstretched in her arms, stood wide-eyed at what had happened. Surely no cheese was hard enough for that kind of impact. As she placed the burlap sack upon the dirt and peeled it open, she was amazed to find Richter, the mug of cheese, inside and looking quite dazed. He had awoken, and the curse was finally lifted. Somewhere behind a desk, the witch looked up and nodded with a smile. But oh, dear reader, look what was now upon his mug body, a giant and elegant crack, the very mark of a warrior. His hero's journey was finally complete. Richter the Cracked had emerged. Yes, it is true that Richter didn't really do anything important in the attack on Bernard. Just by Richter being where he was at the perfect time, he had saved Rita. The fates were with them. Richter and Rita talked and laughed and ate cheese until the sun... If Richter's a mug full of cheese and he eats cheese, is that like cannibalism? Is he a mug that just happens to contain cheese? Is he a mug of which the cheese is part of his essence, body, what have you? Or does it mean that he is a mug specifically designed for the containment of cheese? I'm not going to ask these questions. Finally, they packed up their picnic and headed back to the tavern where they were met with cheers of excitement, mostly because the guys had found out that Rita was now single. I don't know, she likes that mug. As the night wore on into the early morning of the hours, phrasing is strange there, as the night wore on into the early morning hours might have worked better, the tavern remained alive in the castle courtyard with singing and dancing and cheddar cider. Oh, what a celebration. But, like all parties of such proportion, eventually everyone sobers up and have to go home. Before long, it was dawn, the sun began to rise in the west, marking a fresh adventure on the horizon. A wind of a new direction had begun to blow with a more steady pace. It skittered across the ground and found its way between the floorboards of the governor's castle. Here, against all odds, it found the barely remaining body of Mr. Darblemouse. The wind carried the stench far beyond the borders of the castle, over the mountain, and deep within a dark cave where Evil slept. "Oh, what is that smell?" said Evil, awakening with fire burning behind his eyes. Eventually, news of this great evil spread from town to town until it reached the ears of Richter the Cracked, which is strange because he's a mug and has no ears. He polished his sword and gathered some crumbs of bread to store in his mug. Wearing his best expression of courage, Richter once again set off to conquer the day. His story was not yet over. But for now, dear reader, let's return to our own lives. So let us end this tale with a closing thought, shall we? Be we cracked or small or even dead, there's always a purpose to where we're led. Be brave and strong, unless we forget fate isn't quite done with any of us yet. Oh my goodness! The Mug and the Maiden. Anyway, fascinating story. Had nothing to do with what we're doing. But with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and pause here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.